Bismillah. Picture this. The sun is high, the square is packed, and a boy barely old enough to carry his own quiver stands tied to a wooden post. Blood is already running from his temple. The tyrant king leans in and hisses, "Bow, or I will make you beg for death." The boy smiles, and with one sentence, he turns a whole city into believers. Before we dive in, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs courage today. Send peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the comments, write Allah is enough, so the algorithm carries this reminder to hearts that need it. Now listen, this isn't fiction. This is the story Allah preserved in Surah Al-Buruj, the people of the ditch. A story so intense, it feels like it belongs in a movie. Except the ending is written in fire and faith. Scholars mention it happened long before the Prophet ﷺ. Some estimate around the early centuries before Islam, near a place known as Najran, close to what we call the Yemen-Saudi border today. Allah knows best the exact year. What matters is the lesson. When truth is hunted, it doesn't die. It multiplies. There was a kingdom wrapped in fear. People walked with their eyes down, voices low, hearts locked. The ruler wasn't just a king, he wanted to be worshipped. Not respected, not obeyed, worshipped. He demanded the kind of surrender that belongs only to Allah. And you might be thinking, how does a human convince a population he's divine? He doesn't do it with truth. He does it with performance. He employed a master sorcerer, an architect of illusion. Day after day, crowds watched miracles that were really tricks, staged predictions, objects appearing, outcomes controlled behind curtains. The people didn't believe with certainty. They complied with terror. Fear is a powerful religion when you feed it long enough. But the sorcerer grew old. His hands trembled. His breath shortened. And he knew, if he dies without a successor, the king's fake divinity collapses. So he told the king, "Send me a boy sharp, brilliant, someone I can train. I will pass him the secrets. Your throne will be safe." The king agreed instantly. Guards searched every village. They found a boy known for quick intelligence, bright eyes, quicker mind. The family was told it was an honor. The boy was promised robes, gold, influence. He stepped into the palace and saw wealth that made his village life feel like a dream. And every morning, he walked the long, dusty road to the palace for lessons in deception. That road was where Allah planned the real lesson. One day the boy stopped to rest in shade, chest rising and falling, sweat on his brow. And then he heard it soft, calm, completely different from the sorcerer's dark chants. A voice making dua, a voice saying words that felt like clean water in a world of smoke. La ilaha illallah. The boy froze. Something inside him recognized truth before his mind could explain it. He leaned closer, listening, heart beating like a drum. He wanted to knock, but he was late. He continued to the palace, but that phrase followed him like a light stuck in his eyes. And the next day, and the next, he slowed again. He listened again. The sorcerer's phrases felt heavy, like swallowing ash. But this was weightless and strong at the same time. Finally, curiosity overpowered fear. He knocked. An elderly monk opened the door. A man who had withdrawn from society, worshipping in secret, preserving Tawheed while tyranny ruled outside. The monk asked gently, "Who are you, child?" The boy swallowed. "I'm the sorcerer's apprentice." Even saying it made him feel dirty. "I heard your words," the boy said. "What do they mean?" The monk welcomed him in. And in that small, humble room, the boy's world cracked open. "There is only one God," the monk explained. "Allah. He created you. He created the sky above you and the ground beneath you. He alone deserves worship, not the king, not any creation." The boy protested like any child raised in propaganda would. "But the people say the king has power." The monk's eyes held sadness and certainty. "He eats, he sleeps, he will die. Whatever you see is illusion. Allah is the only one with true power." It hit the boy like stepping out of a cave into sunlight. How had he not seen it? He begged, "Teach me." So the boy lived a double life. By day he sat with the sorcerer, memorizing tricks. By heart he learned prayer, remembrance, trust in Allah. When he arrived late, he got beaten, beaten by the sorcerer, beaten at home. He told the monk. The monk smiled with wisdom. When the sorcerer asks, say your family kept you. When your family asks, say the sorcerer kept you. Simple, effective, and the boy continued. Months passed. Faith grew roots. But real faith gets tested publicly. One afternoon the road was chaos. People ran, shouting, "Go back, there's a beast, 2 people already dead." The boy pushed through until he saw it. A huge creature blocking the path. Some narrations say a lion, others say a great beast. Either way, it was terror, a wall of fear. The crowd was stuck, merchants, families, travelers. Nobody moved, and the boy felt it. This is the moment. He grabbed a stone. He closed his eyes, and he made a dua that drew a line between 2 worlds. O Allah, if the way of the monk is more beloved to you than the way of the sorcerer, then kill this beast, so the people can pass. He threw the stone. It struck, and the beast collapsed instantly dead before it could even roar again. 1 stone, 1 dua, 1 sign. The crowd erupted. The apprentice, he's powerful. They assumed magic, but the boy knew. This was Allah answering. He ran to the monk and told him. The monk didn't celebrate. His face tightened. My son, you will be tested. When they torture you, don't mention me. And the test came fast. By Allah's permission, the boy began healing the sick. Blindness, leprosy, illnesses people feared. But he always made it clear. I don't heal. Allah heals. Believe in him, and I'll make dua. Here's where it gets wild because you can silence 1 person, but you can't silence a pattern. 1 healing became 10. 10 became whispers. Whispers became a wave. Even the king's closest courtier heard. This man had everything: status, wealth, influence. But he was blind. Years of doctors had failed. Now he heard there was a boy who could cure. He came with gifts, gold, jewels, enough to buy loyalty from most hearts. Heal me, he said. It's all yours. The boy looked at the treasure, then at the desperation. I can't heal you. The courtier's voice shook. But they say you can. Allah heals. Then the boy said something that turned the courtier's soul upside down. If your king is truly a god, ask him to give you sight. The courtier paused because deep down, he knew. He had watched the king eat, sleep, panic. A god who grows afraid is not a god. So the courtier believed. He declared the testimony of faith. The boy made dua, and sight returned. Imagine the first moment of color after years of darkness. Imagine the shock, the tears, the trembling. The courtier went back to the palace, trying to act normal. But the king noticed immediately. You can see, the king said, suspicion dripping from every word. Who healed you? The courtier answered with calm that only faith can give. My lord healed me. The king's eyes narrowed. Do you have a lord other than me? The courtier said the sentence that collapses thrones. My lord and your lord is Allah. The king snapped. He ordered torture until the courtier revealed the boy. Then torture again until they found the monk. They dragged the monk in front of the king. Renounce, the king commanded. The monk refused. So they brought a saw, placed it on his head, and cut him in half. Then they brought the courtier. Renounce and live. He refused. They cut him as well. 2 martyrs, 2 blood-stained proofs. And the boy still alive was next. The king faced him. Fury mixed with something like betrayal. I chose you. I gave you everything. And you repay me with rebellion? The boy stood chained, calm. I don't heal anyone. Allah heals. And he is your Lord too. The king screamed. Take him to the highest mountain. Throw him off. Soldiers dragged the boy up for hours. Wind howled. The drop below promised instant death. The boy whispered, O Allah, deal with them however you will. The mountain shook violently. Soldiers slipped, fell, and died. The boy stood untouched, and then like a scene that would go viral in a heartbeat, he walked back into the palace. The king turned pale. Where are my men? Allah took care of them, the boy replied. The king tried again. Take him to the sea. Sail far. Throw him overboard. They tied weights. They prepared the final push. The boy made dua. The boat capsized. The soldiers drowned. The boy reached shore unharmed. He returned again. Now the king wasn't just angry. He was afraid. Real fear. The kind he had fed others for years. "What are you?" he whispered. The boy smiled, not arrogant, but certain. "You cannot kill me unless Allah wills. And when Allah wills, it will happen in a way you never expected." Then the boy did the unthinkable. "I can tell you how to kill me." The king leaned in, desperate. "Tell me." The boy said, "Gather the people, all of them in one place. Tie me to a post. Take an arrow from my quiver. Put it in your bow. And before you shoot, say, 'Bismillah, Rabul Ghulam, in the name of Allah, Lord of the boy.'" The king wanted him gone so badly he didn't think. He ordered the city to assemble. Men, women, children, elders, everyone. They tied the boy up in the square. The king took the arrow. The crowd held its breath. Then the king unknowingly proclaimed Tawheed out loud. "Bismillah, Rabul Ghulam." He fired. The arrow struck the boy's temple. Blood ran. The boy lifted his hand, touched the wound, and smiled. And he died. Silence. Then one voice cracked it open. "We believe in the Lord of the boy." Another voice joined. Then dozens. Then thousands. In less than a minute, a whole city chose Allah over the king. If this was a live stream, the comments would explode. If this was a trending clip, the reposts would be endless. But the real viral moment wasn't on screens, it was in souls. The king screamed, "No, this is what I feared." Because the boy's death wasn't a victory for tyranny, it was the king's public defeat. The only way the arrow worked was with Allah's name. The king's mask shattered. So he did what tyrants do when they can't control belief. He tried to burn it. He ordered ditches dug long trenches. He filled them with wood and oil. He set them on fire until flames licked the sky. Then he announced, "Whoever refuses to return to my religion will be thrown into the fire." Families were dragged to the edge. Soldiers shouted, "Renounce!" But the believers refused. They stepped forward, men, women, elders, choosing fire over falsehood. Then came a mother holding her infant. Heat scorched her face. Flames roared like an ocean of light. Her heart trembled. She looked at the baby. Her feet froze, and then by Allah's will the infant spoke. "O mother, be patient. You are upon the truth." That sentence, coming from a child who shouldn't speak, became the final push. She held her baby close, whispered takbir, and stepped into the fire. An entire people became witnesses. Allah immortalized them in Surah Al-Buruj, a warning to every tyrant and a promise to every believer. So what do you do with this story? You remember that faith isn't proven in comfort. It's proven when you're asked to trade truth for safety. You remember that Allah can flip a crowd in 60 seconds. You remember that a single dua can crush a beast, shake a mountain, and capsize an ocean. And you remember the boy's secret. Sometimes the strongest victory looks like sacrifice, because Allah writes outcomes that tyrants can't imagine. If this moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Send it to a friend. Post a clip. Leave a comment so others find it. And make dua. O Allah, make us firm upon the truth. Bismillah. And may Allah grant us courage like the people of the ditch. Let's slow down and feel the weight of what just happened. A tyrant used the oldest tricks in the book. Control the story, control the crowd, control the fear. He didn't need everyone to believe he was divine, he only needed them to be too scared to disagree. That's how falsehood spreads, not by strength, but by intimidation. And that's why the boy is one of the most fearless figures you'll ever study. Because his courage wasn't loud at first. It started quietly on a dusty road, in the shade, listening to a whisper of Tawheed. No applause, no audience, just a heart hearing truth and refusing to unhear it. That's the first lesson. Guidance often begins when nobody's watching. The second lesson is even sharper. Allah can use the very plan of evil to destroy evil. The king thought he was raising the next sorcerer. He was actually raising a future Dawah carrier. The palace thought they were building a pillar of propaganda. Allah was building a break in the wall. And when the boy killed the beast with a stone, it wasn't just a wow moment. It was a sign to him personally. Your reliance belongs to Allah, not the tricks of men. The crowd misread it as magic because when people live in deception, They interpret miracles through the language of deception. But the boy didn't chase clout. He didn't say, "Look at me." He said, "Look at Allah." If you're living in an era where everything is about followers, views, and being seen, this is a real reset. The boy's mission wasn't to trend, it was to testify. And still, Allah made the message spread. Notice how it spread. Not through arguments, but through mercy, through healing, through relief, through people experiencing Allah's care and realizing the king's divinity is hollow. That's another lesson. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is compassion, because it exposes cruelty for what it is. Now think about the king's perspective for a second. He tried to kill the boy privately. He tried to erase him in isolation, throw him off a mountain, drown him in the sea, make him disappear. Because tyrants love darkness. They love quiet. They love controlling the frame. But the boy refused to die off stage. He knew if he died hidden, the king could spin it. He was a fraud. He was defeated. His God failed him. And the people already trained to fear might retreat back into silence. So the boy engineered a death that forced the truth into the open. He made the king say Allah's name in front of the entire city. He made the king admit, with his own voice, that he is not the Lord. That's why the boy smiled at the end. Not because pain is easy, not because death is light. He smiled because he saw the dominoes falling. He saw belief ignite. He saw the king's lie collapse publicly. And then you get the moment that should shake you. Thousands choosing faith, knowing what comes next. When the ditches were lit, everyone understood the price. This wasn't a metaphor. It wasn't cancel culture. It wasn't losing a job or a friend group. It was fire. It was death. Yet they still chose Tawheed. That is what Iman looks like when it's real. And the mother with the baby, that scene is not there to entertain you. It is there to humble you. Because if you're honest, you can feel her hesitation. You can feel that split second where her body screams, "Protect your child," and her soul screams, "Protect your faith." And Allah answered her conflict with a miracle. The child spoke, not to shame her, but to strengthen her. Not to pressure her, but to comfort her. "O mother, you are upon the truth." Meaning, you're not walking into loss. You're walking into Allah's promise. So when you read Surah Al-Buruj and you see the image of the ditch, don't rush past it. Sit with it. Let it recalibrate your definition of success. Because in this world, it can look like the tyrant won burning bodies, silencing voices. But Allah calls them the winners. Allah records them as the honored. Allah makes their story outlive empires. And here we are centuries later still saying their names. Ashab al-Ukhdood. Still remembering the boy. Still learning how fragile tyranny is when truth becomes public. So here's a question for you, no drama. Just honesty. What is the ditch you're standing near in your life? Maybe it's pressure to compromise your values. Maybe it's the temptation to hide your Islam to fit in. Maybe it's fear of people's opinions. Maybe it's an addiction you keep excusing. Maybe it's a relationship that pulls you away from Allah. Maybe it's a habit that kills your salah slowly, day by day. The ditch doesn't always look like flames. Sometimes it looks like comfort that costs you your soul. And the boy's story is Allah telling you, don't sell the hereafter for a moment of safety. If you want one practical takeaway, make it this. Build your faith in private before you're tested in public. The boy learned Tawheed in a small room before he faced a king in a public square. He learned to whisper Dawah before he needed it on a mountain. He learned to rely on Allah before he stood in front of fire. So tonight before you sleep, do one quiet act that nobody claps for. Pray 2 rak'ahs. Ask Allah for firmness. Ask Allah to make you brave. Ask Allah to make you among those who speak truth even when it costs. And if you're watching this and thinking, I'm not that strong, remember, they weren't superheroes. They were people. Allah made them strong. Allah doesn't demand perfection. He demands sincerity. So say it with me in your heart. Ya Allah, I want you more than I want comfort. And may Allah make us people of Tawheed, people of courage, people of patience, and people who meet him with hearts that refuse to bow to anything besides him. One last thing, don't let this be just another inspiring story you scroll past. Take 10 seconds right now. Share this script to your notes, your group chat, or your page. Tag someone who needs a reminder that Allah's help can arrive in ways that rewrite history. And if you're able, memorize Surah Al-Buruj, or at least read it with translation today. Let the Quran tell the story in Allah's own words. May Allah send peace and blessings upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu, and may he make us steadfast, fearless, and sincere. Ameen. And when fear shows up in your chest, remember the boy's quiet smile. Not because the world was easy, but because Allah was real. Say, Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakeel. Keep walking, keep believing. Even if you stand alone at first, Allah can turn alone into a nation in 60 seconds. If you made it this far, drop a and make dua for the believers oppressed everywhere.